All right, recording is started. Well, again, welcome to the Figma Party. I hope everybody has fun today. We just have a couple housekeeping things really quick to make sure that we all get the most out of it today. First things first is please join the Figma file. What's up, Ash? If you don't have the, how's it going?
Good.
Good. So if everybody can click the link to the Figma file, I think I see most of us in here already. Ash, do you need the link?
I think I saw it come through an email, right?
It's yep, it might have been your email, or there's also in the Figma Party Slack channel. The link's in there as well.
Love it.
Cool. And what up, Burton? How's it going?
I want to get my crown cemented.
Let's do it. Oh yeah, then there's again, huh?
You didn't think you were going to hear me say that, did you?
No. If you go to the Figma Party channels, Scott, you'll see a link to the Figma file, because not only are we gonna listen, but we're also gonna do today. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So everybody, just please feel free to jump in if you have any questions or any comments, or especially if you have a better way to do something that I'm showing, because I love to learn more efficient ways to do stuff. So I think the first thing we need to do is make sure you pin my screen on the Hangout so you can kind of follow along a little better. And I think I said this earlier, but we're recording today, so we'll be able to check out this video at any time in case you want to go over something that we did that went a little too fast. You could go back and check it out. And lastly, have fun, because this is a Figma party, right? Let's go and get started. Yeah, confetti, let's go. All right, so let's get it to the file. Is everybody in? Looks like we're just waiting on Scott, but I'm gonna get started, Scott. All right, so we have an hour, so we have a lot of
go
topics.
ahead. I'm in the car, so
Oh, you're in the car.
in. Yeah,
Okay.
I had some FOMO, so I had to join.
Right on. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. All right, today's agenda. So we're gonna kind of go over how to make buttons, some auto layout stuff, which is really cool. We're gonna also check out how to use components and variables, and also we're gonna get started on making a simple layout. And we're gonna use auto layouts the whole time. It's a really powerful feature inside Figma, and so let's get started. So if everybody could follow me and get your cursor here, we're gonna get started on making a button. Hey, how's it going, everybody? That's awesome. All right, so first thing we want to do is click the text button. So it's on the top left up here with the letter T, if you don't know where it is. And we're gonna go ahead and type out button. So find a place on the canvas, anywhere you want, but go ahead and type it out. Dealer's choice on your font and on your size. It's not going to really matter too much right now. And if you don't know how to change the font and stuff, there is a text panel on the right that shows up when you start typing. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to trim all this extra padding on the button that comes pre-stocked on this font. The reason why we want to do that is when we start setting up padding for the button, it's gonna have the text sit either high or low. So how to do that is on the right on the text panel, we want to click this kebab menu. I don't know, I think that's what they got, the kebab icon. And then down here, there is a setting called vertical trim. So when we hit vertical trim, it's going to trim it just to the text itself.
Sorry, can I ask you?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't have like a tool panel on my left. Like I can't edit this file.
Oh, you can't edit it. Okay, let me see. Yeah. Let me. It says you can edit, but edit file when they're. Oh, I think it's on your account, Marina. It looks like your account needs to be upgraded.
Yeah,
You
that's
just make
correct.
it anyone with the link can edit it instead of
Alright, I
just.
can just watch. That's fine. That's okay.
Let's see. Anyone can edit.
Can you change that drop down on the left? It says like anyone with the link. Down
Oh.
right there.
Oh, okay, awesome.
There you
Cool. Maybe that'll work. Marina, maybe restart your Figma and try it out. All right. Okay, so so we have our button, and did everybody trim? Looks like maybe Tiffany. Okay, so Tiffany, if you click your text here and you go to this kebab menu on the right, there's a setting here that says vertical trim.
Where's the
cool.
menu on the right?
It's under text. Like when you click on the button, your text panel where you change the font and stuff.
Mhm.
It's on the bottom right of that panel.
Oh, I found it.
Okay. So when you click that, it's towards, there's a divider and it's like the first option there.
Just the standard vertical trim?
Yeah, it's the second option.
Oh, okay.
There you go. I see it. Okay, cool. Awesome. So once we do that, we're going to create our first auto layout. So the keyboard shortcut, I am a big believer in keyboard shortcuts, but there's other ways to do it. But the keyboard shortcut to this is Shift A. But you can also right click on it, and then there's an option here that says Add Auto Layout. But let's do Shift A. Cool. And it should put a frame around your button. Is everybody there? Awesome. Okay, so we have our first auto layout. So let me kind of explain how the auto layout works really quick. If you look at the right panel, when you click the frame, you'll see the auto layout configuration panel here. Let me pull this out a little more so we can see it a little better. Okay. So the options here with the arrows is how your auto layout's going to flow. So the first option is vertical. So that means once you start adding items, it's going to, so I have it, so when it, with the arrow pointing down, it's going to add the more items that you put, it's going to start stacking them top to bottom. And if you hit the right button, it's going to go left to right. This third option here is kind of new and it's pretty cool. If your frame is at a fixed value and you do the wrap, what it's going to do is it's going to wrap your content. So that's kind of a new thing. Okay, so what we want to do now is to make sure that we have our direction pointing right. So we're going to go left and right. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, awesome.
How do you get back to the auto layout if you have clicked away from it? You just have to go Shift A again.
It should still be, where's your button, Ash? Here you go. It looks like your auto layout is still intact here. Okay, yeah, your auto layout, it's persistent, so it's like a property of that frame now.
Got it.
Yep. So okay, so with so these other options here, this first one here is the gaps between your elements inside your auto layout. It'll make more sense in a second. The one underneath that is the horizontal padding. So how much padding you want to the left and right of your button. And then the next one is your vertical padding to the top and bottom. So let's set our horizontal padding to 16. And then our vertical padding. Well, actually, let's do our vertical padding. Let's do 24 and 32 for our horizontal. Let me know when everyone's got that. Okay, cool. Looks like you got that. Cool. Anybody have any questions? All right. So the next control here that we have is we have this little grid here, and what this grid is telling us is how do we want to align our content within our auto layout frame. So we could do top right is just for an example. I'm just gonna show you like how this thing's positions, but we want to keep it in the center. But just want to show you guys this so you know where this control is and what it does. Okay, cool. All right, the next step is doing our fill. So we're gonna want to do the fill on our auto layout frame. So here on our right, we have a fill panel, and we'll click the plus sign, and then we'll go ahead and pick a color. So I'm gonna pick this purple here. It's kind of nice. So if you are if you remember back in the day, to create buttons, we'd have our button, then we'd have to draw a shape, and then we go in here and then we square it up, right? And then we pick a color. So this is like the old school way of kind of doing buttons, and it still works and stuff, but the disadvantage of this is it's not flexible. It doesn't help us within a layout. So in our auto layout, now when we stretch the button, it's always going to be positioned in the center, right? So if you guys also want to have square or rounded corners on your buttons, if you wanted a rounded button, it's super easy. You just go in here. How I usually do it is there's this corner radius button right here. What I'll do is I'll look at the height. I'll put in the height and then just divide it by 2. You just have Figma do the math for me. So there we go. We got a rounded button. Is everybody following so far? Cool. So I'm going to go around and kind of take a look at everybody's buttons. All right, Emily, this is awesome. Tiffany, cool. Ashley got a big boy here. Oh, so Ashley, so what I think happened here is if we look in our layers panel, looks like you have like auto layouts inside of auto layouts. So let's kind of pull out the bottom one here. So we're going to pull this back up top. And then just to get this squared up, Ash, what we're going to do is let's see. This is our I have font, but let's see what happened. I think. Oh, when I get to this point, dude, auto layout is sometimes funky. So maybe just start from the beginning again. Just type out some text and then apply auto layout to it.
I kind of got classically on the wrong path there. So let's see.
Dude, it's yeah, auto layout is kind of weird. It takes a lot of practice, but once you get a hang of it, dude, it's the best. All right, cool. So we have our button now. So we saw how we do the fill. So we put the fill on the auto layout frame. This also applies to other attributes. So like if you wanted to put a stroke on here, it works with the auto layout as well. So it'll always stay on there. And if you had an effect like a drop shadow or something, that also will stay on the auto layout. Cool. All right. So our next step, you'll see on the top here, we have a couple icons that we have to play with. So what we want to do is let's grab this plus icon, and you can copy and paste it. And what it will, actually, if you hold down, I think it's Alt on I'm on a PC right now, but I think it's Alt on a Mac. But if you drag it, it'll make an instance for you. You can also, I think you can also copy and paste it. Okay, so once you have it, get it on your clipboard by copying or cutting it, and then we're gonna click on the button, and then we're gonna hit paste. Awesome. Cool. All right. So if you could see, like, your auto layout has the button and the plus sign. And remember what I was talking about earlier about this first button or this first option here? This is the gap between your elements. So I think it comes out of the box at 8 pixels. So we're going to do 16. We'll give it a little bit more breathing room there. And then make sure we have it left to right. So the second option here, we'll give it a horizontal layout. So it's left to right. Now,
are you doing this on the button auto layout, or are you doing it like, are you clicking the plus icon?
You're doing it on the frame on this frame, Ash. And then I think you just need to click on the horizontal layout button on the auto layouts panel. So it's right here.
There you go.
Boom. Yeah. All right, cool. So now we see that the button the button and the plus sign is kind of going together, right? Now, if you look in your layers panel, the order of your layers matters here, because if you drag your icon on top of your button, it switches positions with the text. Does that make sense? So the order of your layers matter in your auto layout. Cool. So now if we drag our button out, we could see that the positioning of our button and our icon are in the center. But what if you wanted to have it so that this is your text is position left and your icon is position right? To do that, super easy. You just click on your auto layout frame, and then inside where we made that 16 pixel gap, we're going to type in auto, and that'll automatically generate the space in between the text and the icon. Does that make sense?
Where did you type in auto?
So if you go to your auto layouts panel, was that Tiffany?
Yes.
Tiffany, if you go to your auto layouts panel, it's the option underneath the arrows. It's that input field, and it looks like kind of 2 brackets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just go in there and type in auto.
Okay.
There you go. You got it. Sweet. Cool. All right. So another cool thing. Let's see where we are now. Okay. So icons. All right. So what we want to do is let's make this a little more complex. So let's grab the arrow on the top, the arrow icon, and we'll do the same thing, and we'll put it inside our auto layout. Okay, so now we have 3 elements in here. And then if you stretch out your button, you'll see that they're all like, all the spacing is equal to each other, right? So what we want to do is let's group the button and the arrow. So let's put our arrow to the very top on our layer list. So it's up front. Awesome. Cool. And then in our layers, we're going to click our the arrow icon and our button text. And then we're going to make this an auto layout. So we're starting to get into nested auto layout frames. So we're going to click it. You could hit Shift A or right click and hit auto layout. So once we have these in an auto layout, we're going to go back to our space between option in our auto layouts panel where we typed auto earlier, and we're going to put 16 in there. So now we have this, our button text and our plus icon together, and or I'm sorry, the arrow and our button icon together on the left, and then we have our plus icon on the right. So it's super flexible. And let's see. So let's see, Tiffany. So Tiffany, all we have to do here is, okay, so I see that you created the auto layout here. So if you drag your button inside frame 13, your button text layer into frame 13, it should, there you go. And then just switch positions. There you go. Perfect. Cool. And let's see, Ash. There you go, Ash. That looks good. Awesome. Cool. Now we got a really responsive button with our icons and stuff like that. Okay, so just really quickly, this is like a little side mission here. Whenever you have icons or elements that are the same size or are used in the same kind of using kind of in the same way, yeah, like having a naming convention is really important. So whenever I do icons, I'll do icon slash and then whatever the icon is. The reason why we do this is whenever we need to swap out a button, so let's click on our arrow here. And then once you're on the arrow component inside your button, you'll see in your panel on the right, there's a diamond. So that tells you it's a component, and it says right arrow. So if we click on that, we should see the other icons that we have in this file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit menu, and boom, it switched it on the fly. So that's a really easy way to switch out your icons. And so usually what I'll do when I'm doing like a wireframe or something, I'll have like a placeholder icon, kind of component. And then at any time I need to change my icons, like I could just quickly go in there and change it.
Is that the naming convention? Icon slash, like that's the, or does it group them by whatever you name it? Because you have like logo slash sprint forward. Like, how does it know the difference?
Yep. So the icon it creates kind of like a folder. Actually, if you do that, go in that drop down, and you go all the way back, you'll see that there's like an icon list or icon folder and a logo folder.
Got it.
And yeah. So that's kind of why you want to have that kind of naming convention, so it kind of keeps everything together. And then, like Ash kind of mentioned earlier, we have icon slash sprint forward. So like if we're doing all of our different brands, we'll have like icon slash cycle bar, slash stretch lab, etc. So that way, for one of the projects that me and Matt are working on is a checkout flow, and we have to do it for all of our brands. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to set everything up, but once everything is set up, then you can go ahead and update things pretty quickly. And cool. All right, so a couple things that I kind of breezed through that is also important talking about setting up files is one is color styles. So if we go ahead and click on our button here, and then we can see what the fill is, and it's just like this is an independent color right now, so it doesn't have like it's kind of like not flexible or not useful for us in if we wanted to make things more efficient. So if we click on our color and we go to our fill panel, there is an icon here with 4 dots. So this is going to bring up our style library. So we'll go ahead and click that style, that button. It brings up our library. And what we want to hit is this plus button, and it'll create a new variable. So it's just adding a color to our library. So we'll go ahead and name that. Let's name it. I'm going to name my Figma Party purple. So what's awesome about this is if we have, we start making more elements. I'm going to make some elements here, and we're going to make these the same color. And when we're all done, we're like, oh, geez, that color is wrong. I need to change it. So it's super easy. We'll just go inside if you click on the canvas, it'll show you what your styles are. So we're going to go inside our color. We're going to click this control icon, and then we can change the color from here, and it updates every instance where that color is being used because it is a style that we created. So I'm going to just for now, I'm going to make it this really crazy sea foamy color. And yep, so that is how you do color styles. Cool. Anybody have any questions? I know I'm going through a lot of stuff. So please stop me if I'm going too fast, or if you guys have any questions. Awesome. All right, so the same thing can be done too with text. So let's hit our button text, and then we'll find the same kind of grid here on our text panel on the right, and we'll hit the plus button, and then we're gonna naming conventions here are also pretty important. So we'll name this let's just name it body / button, or whatever the usage is. So we'll create that style. And then the same thing, like this thing, if you have this instance of this, wherever this text style is being used, if you go in here and if you go up here and change it, where am I? So if I ever wanted to go and update the styling, oh, you know what, I should have made that bold or semi-bold. You can do that, and then it'll update everything where it was used. Does that make sense?
Can you change the category once it's set?
What kind of category, Ash?
Like I did body / button, but when I go to edit, I can only edit Ashley. Is that like a?
Oh, let's see. I think. Oh yeah. So.
Oh yeah, you can edit. You can edit the style, but you can't edit the categories. So you'd have to create the style over.
Yeah, actually, I ran into that too. When we were doing the checkout stuff, it's like, oh man, I should have. He looks like you can't update that. Maybe there is. I don't know how to though. All right. Cool. All right. So awesome. Cool. So like we got through on how to make a pretty complex button. We learned about color libraries and how to use icons and also text text styles. All right. So our next step is we're gonna make a component. So on our auto layout frame, we'll go ahead and name this button and then put your initials after it so we don't get confused. So here's my button AR. And on the top here, top center, this is how important this thing is. It's like right dab in the center on the top. It's a create component icon. So if you hover over it, I think it's Command Alt K is the shortcut. So okay, Emily's okay. All right. Okay, cool. Everybody's got it. Cool. So now we have a component. And what a component is it's kind of like how the styles were earlier. Like every time we make an instance of this component, so like if you make a copy and paste it somewhere, so that creates an instance. So what an instance is pretty much this button that's kind of independent, or it's, you can think about it as this being linked to this like parent button. So you can do things on this instance like change the button text. You can change the icons, whatever, right? But what we want to do now is on our component, when that icon up top where we created a component, we could start making variants of this button. So here, when we click it, we'll hit that plus button and it puts it in this like dotted line bounding box. So what that means is everything that's inside that bounding box is a variant of this button. So why is the variance important? So Tiffany, if you click on your frame here, your button PT, and then you go to the top, there'll be a button that's there's a diamond with a plus sign on it. That's how you create your variant, and then that dotted line will appear automatically.
Where is it with the diamond with the plus?
So if you are you clicked on your button TT?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on the very top center, underneath your tabs, where your different projects are open. So it's like right here. I don't know if you're looking at the Hangout.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool, sweet, perfect. All right, so these different variants, you could do them for different usages, but usually I use them for like different states of the button. So here is when we click on the button inside the frame here, the dotted box, on the right it says current variant, and it says property 1. Can you guys see that? And it says default. It's on the right panel. So yeah, make sure that you're clicked on. Cool. You guys, Ash and Tiffany, you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll click on the second one here, and then we'll call this one hover. And then we can change the attributes on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color to a lighter color. So I'm going to detach. Once I click on it on my right side, I see that my fill is my Figma Party purple. So I'm going to detach it. I'm going to make it a little lighter. and then I'll go back to my text styles, and then I'm going to create a new, or I'm sorry, not text style, color styles. I have to create a new color. So Figma Party purple light. I don't know, something like that. Cool. And then, cool. Looks like everybody's got that. Awesome. So, oops. Cool. So we have our default button and we have our hover button, and sweet. So the advantage of doing this is when you're doing a layout and you have a button. So I'm gonna pull out, copy and paste my default button. Okay? So it's doing something funky. So if you hold down Alt, you click on your first button, and then hold down Alt, and then drag it out. You should make a copy of it. Cool. I don't know why sometimes if you do a copy and paste, it'll add another variant. But what you want is an instance. So you can always tell if you look in your layer panel, you could tell the instance because it'll be this hollow diamond, and then your parent component is like a solid diamond. Cool. All right, so we have this, we have our button here, and then on the right side, you can see what the instance is. So my button AR, and underneath that says property 1 default. So, and there's a drop down. So I can go in here and click that, and I can change it to hover. That makes sense. Let's see. Cool. Nice. Cool. Does that make sense, Emily? You see where to do that?
Yeah, my mind is blown. Very excited.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right. So, okay, cool. So another cool thing that I kind of just learned recently was if you had an instance of a button and you're like, oh man, I need to swap those out for like, another component or whatever, like you want to make this an input, right? If you go to the top left where the Figma icon is, there's a drop down, and then we'll go to edit. And then on the very bottom, select all with. So this is the dope part. So you can select things with the same fill, things with the same stroke, same text properties. So it'll do it across your whole page. But what we want to do here is for the same instance. So every instance I have with this button will be able to do a select all with instance. So everything is all selected now with that button instance. And then you could see like, you could go, if we had an input in here, all we'd have to do is go to our drop. Like I'm going to replace all my instances with Emily's button. Nice. So that's kind of like another cool thing that you could do that I didn't know about before, which is pretty awesome. Okay, cool. Let me clean up my workspace here a little. Okay. All right, so how much time do we have left? Okay, we have about 15 minutes. So I'm happy to do another one of these again in the future, but this part's probably going to go pretty fast because you don't have much time. All right, so what we're going to do now is try to create a simple layout. So to do that, we're going to start with a frame. So if we go to our top left, we'll see this like tic-tac-toe kind of board. So that's our frame button. And then when we click on that button, it'll give us options on the right for some like stock frame sizes, which is really nice. So what we're going to do is we'll do iPhone 14 and 15 Pro. Cool. And I'll just move mine over here a little bit. So we'll name it homepage, and then we'll add our initials like we did before. Cool. All right. So has everybody got a frame up? All right, Ash. Okay, cool. Looks like Tiffany's moving hers over. Cool. Awesome. All right. So we have our frame. And what we're going to do first is we're going to create our, let's do a footer nav. So what we're going to do is let's take one of our icons. So maybe the user icon or something, any of them work. And then we're going to do our auto layout. So it's kind of like how we did with a button, right? But this time we're going to have it go up and down. And then we'll go ahead and put some text in here. Name it home. And then let's change the colors so they're let's just use 333. It's like a darker gray. And then let's set the text to 10. So let's see. This is this making sense to everybody so far? Okay. So we have our auto layout frame and with an icon and some text underneath it. All right, so we're gonna do some nested auto layouts here. So we have first auto layout. Let's go ahead and name that menu item. Let's name that frame menu item. And then we're gonna make that a component. Does that make sense? Let's see. Cool. So Tiffany, just drag your text inside the same auto layout as your icon. There you go. And then make that text 10 pixels. And then we'll, on the auto layout direction, hit vertical layout. Yep. Cool. And then remember on that grid right here, on the auto layout grid, put it to align top center. There you go. Sweet. And we could get rid of this one. Awesome. And then you probably want to make that text a little smaller, maybe 10 pixels. Cool. Nice, Emily. All right. Cool. Nice, Ash. All right. So on your text layer, make sure it's center aligned. So in the text panel, like you have your font, your font style, and then towards the bottom is your alignment. So it's the middle option there. Okay, cool. All right. So next thing we want to do is on your text layer, in the properties, on the top right, you'll see options. They look like pointing carrots at each other, and it says hug. Like there's a horizontal one and there's one that's going up and down that are pointing. What you want to do on the horizontal resizing, that's what it's called. We want to hit fill container. So that means like whenever we stretch it, that text container is going to follow your container. Your text field is going to stretch to the size of the container. Cool. Awesome. Okay. All right. So now what we want to do is we're going to, so with this component, we want an instance of it. So we're going to hold down Alt drag. So it's outside of itself. And we're going to make that in auto layout and make sure that we have it horizontal. And then if you hit Command D, that'll duplicate. So we'll make 5 of those. And then at this, so I'm going to rename this one, name nav. And I'm going to set my fill to white. So I can see it here. And then cool. And then you might need to, if it's not, if you're like stretching your frame out and your icons aren't moving with the frame, it's probably because your horizontal resizing isn't on fill container. So I'm just gonna go and check some stuff out. Nice, Emily. And all right, let's see. Tiffany, you mind if I drive a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was getting
Okay.
a little stuck here.
Oh yeah, no problem. So so this is right. So this is, I think where you might have got lost is here we need to make this a component. So to do that, we could right click it and hit create component, or on the top center, there's a create component button with the 4 diamonds. There, perfect, cool. And then from here, you want to hold Alt and drag that out. So now you're making a child from that parent. Perfect. And then so click on your child here, and then you can create another auto layout. Cool. And then go ahead and click that child again, and then hit Command D like 4 times. Cool. And then go ahead, click the frame, and then you're gonna change the orientation so it's left and right. Perfect. Cool. And then from here, Tiffany, on the space between in your auto layouts, can you set that to 0? Nice. And then the padding, horizontal and vertical, those should be at 0 as well. Okay, awesome. And then you could go, if you stretch this out. Oh, that's weird. I only did one of them. Okay, so if you select all these items in here inside there, yep. And then on your if you go to the top right, there's like a horizontal resizing, and set that to fill container. Do you see that? It's like up here. Like on the right panel is like frame, the dimensions, and then it's gonna look like a bar with a line and a bar at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Got it. Sweet. Let's test it out. Cool. Perfect. Works. That works. And then, how we doing, Ash? Where you at?
Struggle bus.
All right. Let's see what we have here. Oh,
It's gonna be inspired by other people, but just didn't get that
Oh.
far.
yeah, you're not too far off. It's the it looks like some of the is it nested in there? Okay, yeah. I think you might have went one auto layout too deep.
Mm. Big fan of auto layout.
uh
But
Yeah,
can we use it? Yeah.
okay. All right. So okay. All right. We have like 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna be going super fast here. All right, so we have our main nav, right? So let's go ahead and create a component out of that. And then we're gonna make a child. And then we're gonna put this child inside our frame that we created, our mobile frame. And then we're gonna size it to the size of the frame. Since my background for my main nav is gray, I'm gonna make that gray. All right, so maybe you guys might want to just watch this part on the Hangout because I'm gonna go by pretty fast so I can kind of get this done. But you could also, I'll post this recording later so you could try it out yourselves. All right, so our auto layout. So we have our auto layout main menu here. What's awesome about it is that we can have independent padding. So here on the right on our auto layouts panel, we have this like kind of small individual padding button. We'll go ahead and click on that. And then I want my padding on the bottom to be taller. So we could accommodate for that slide bar in iOS. And also just to have this sit a little higher. I'm going to also on my, I'm going to do this on the parent. So on my parent, I want to make sure that my items sit to the top because whatever we want to do, we never want to kind of create shapes anymore. We want to always kind of use auto layout to do it. So I want to make a highlight bar on my first item here. So I'm going to do that by using strokes. So I'm going to use my my color, my purple color, and we can also do independent areas on where we want that stroke. So I just want it on the top, right? So on my stroke panel, I went ahead and put it just on the top. So we have it up here. Cool. All right, so we have that part, and now I'm going to quickly create a header. So I'm going to grab the SprintFWD logo. I'm going to grab the hamburger menu, and I'm going to combine these two into an auto layout. And what I'm doing is after I made the auto layout, I determine what I want the space to be in between is, and then to the left of my left edge, I want it to be 24 pixels in. And let's say we have like a fixed height that we want to do. We can also do that as well. It doesn't have to be, that part doesn't have to be like part of it, the auto layout, like if you wanted something fixed. All right, cool. So we go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to make this purple and create a component out of that. And then we'll make sure we drag it out. We have a little child for it now. And then I'm going to cut it and put it into my layout. Sweet. So we have a header and a footer now. And let's make this taller. So I updated the parent, but the child didn't update. So if that ever happens, you can right click on the child and put reset all changes, and then it'll it'll update whatever you did to the parent. Okay, so we have our header and footer, and then let's do a body. So I'm gonna grab my button that we made earlier. I'm gonna put it in here, and I'm gonna create an auto layout again. auto layout, and put some text in here with the button. And put welcome to the show, right? And then I'm gonna want to span that to fill container. And these dimensions are super weird, but well, let's deal with it. Okay, cool. So we have our auto layout here. I'm gonna make sure that it spans from edge to edge. It's pinned to the top center here. And I don't want any space. Oh, let's make some space on the top and bottom. Let's do that. Okay. All right. So I want this to be the next item underneath our header. So this whole thing here, my whole layout should be in an auto layout. And then we want these things to be paired up. So we're going to put those in an auto layout. And I'll show you the reason why in a second. This needs to be. Okay. What? All right. So I'm having an issue. So this is why auto layout sometimes is funky. Is it because, yeah, this should be auto. All right. Okay, cool. So yeah, whenever I have different modules and stuff, let's say we have 3 modules and I'm like, oh man, I don't need the second module, or I need to switch it around. It's like super easy to do. Everything starts like kind of designing itself or keeping itself like organized just by like making sure all these items are on auto layout. How much time we got? Oh, I'm over now. So cool. I hope that was super helpful for you guys. Do you guys have any questions or anything that I can answer right now?
I think let's explore it, maybe have like a follow-up session, and we can do show and tell. Maybe we can try and build an example and you can give us some feedback. But it would be great to have, basically the member portals, brand apps, and some of our other experiences in these variables just to make designing much easier and faster.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anybody else have any questions? Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. I had a lot of fun, and it's always good practice to kind of teach so that way you know what you're talking about. But cool. All right.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
this was super helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Ant.
Yeah, learn tons of tips.
Awesome. Yep. If you guys have any questions, reach out on Slack, or yeah, I'll also work on doing a follow-up. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
But
I